Right, parents, we are ready for our Jolly Phonics tutorial. I'm going through all the sounds that we are still going to do and have done. We've done most of them in class already. I shall be doing the stories, and then after each story you will see the letter formation stipulated in our Western Cape Education Department's curriculum. There you have that on the screen, and then on the next one I just want to remind you of the app that I have told you about. You can download that on your phones and it shall give you the story, the formation, which will differ slightly to our South African curriculum, but you will get the songs as well, which is quite nice. Right, there we have our first story up on the screen. The boy goes out, he throws the stick into the bushes, and as he approaches the bushes he hears a hissing noise, and he goes closer and Snake pops out his head. Snake is one of our main Jolly Phonics characters. At first the boy is very afraid, but then after a while he realizes that Snake is a very nice and friendly snake. And basically Snake hisses, so Snake goes sss, and then that is our s sound. They don't say S, they say the phonetic sound that it makes. S. Right, that is our next story. The family goes out for a picnic and they pack out all their things on the picnic blanket, and all of a sudden the ants come along, and as they're sitting they start to itch and they feel ants walking all over their arms, and they basically say ah 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 as the ants are walking on their arms, and that is our ah sound for our Jolly Phonics, and it says ah. Our next one is our t sound. They are playing a tennis match, and as the ball gets hit from side to side, there is a friend watching in a wheelchair, and she follows the ball with her head, and as they're hitting she goes t t t t t, and that is our t sound and our formation. Our next one is the I sound, and Inky is running up the desk leg, and accidentally she spills the ink all over her, and as she's cleaning her whiskers she goes I I I I, and that is our I sound. Our next story is all about the pink birthday cake and the pig formation cake, and they're having a birthday party, and as they are blowing out the candles they're pretending to puff out the candles. They hold their finger in front of their mouth and they blow on it by saying puff 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 puff, and that is our p sound. Our next story, the girl goes out with her net, and as she is trying to catch butterflies, she hears an aeroplane coming past, and she pretends that she's the aeroplane, and she goes and that is our n sound. Our next story is all about the lady playing the castanets. She's having a show for all the viewers, and she is playing on her castanets. The castanets will be the curly k, and then this is curly k, and then there will be the k with legs, as I call it, and this is normally represented by kites are flying in the sky, so this will be the kites k. Right, our next one is our e sound. Mom is busy in the kitchen with her pan and she's frying the eggs, and we pretend to break the egg, and as we break it in the pan we say e, 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 and that is our e sound. Our next one is our r sound. The boy is playing with his dog and they're pulling on a rag, and as the dog pulls on the one side and the boy pulls on the other side, the dog goes rrr, rrr, and therefore this is our r sound. Our next one is our m sound. They are having dinner and Mum has prepared spaghetti bolognese for their meal, and they love that, and they put their hand on their tummy and they go mmm, and that is our m sound. Our next story, the boy is playing on his drums and they are pretending to play on their drums, and they go d, 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 and that is our d sound. Then we have the plumber coming along because the drains are all blocked up, and as he unblocks the drain, the water gurgles down the pipe, and as it goes down the pipe makes a gurgling noise going g, 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 and that is our g sound. The next one, they are getting ready for bed and they are switching the lights on and off, on and off. And over here, it's very important to make it clear to them that it's not an O sound, but in actual fact, an O sound, O. Our next one is our umbrella story, where they are running in the rain with their umbrellas, and therefore this is our ah sound, ah. Then we have our l. They all go to a party and they get all sorts of lollipops, and they hold their hand in front of them and then they pretend to lick their lollipop, and our sound says l. On the next one, we go to the beach and they've got an inflatable fish that they want to float on, and all of a sudden it starts deflating, and as it's deflating it goes f, and therefore this is our f sound. Here we've got our b sound, and they are playing with the bat and the ball. They pretend to hold a bat in their hand and they are hitting the ball going b, 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 and that is our b sound. Over here in our story, poor Ainsley has got an earache and Mum has realized that he cannot hear her when she calls. Every time she calls, he says, A, A. Now you put your hand behind your ear and you go A, and then the doctor unclogs his ears so that he can hear properly again. And then when our A and E stand together, they make the A sound, A. Our next one is the J sound. Mum has prepared jelly, and we stand up straight and pretend that our bodies are a piece of jelly, and we jiggle it around saying J, 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 and there is our J sound. Our next digraph is our O digraph. The boy and girl goes out into the wood and they spot a goat being trapped underneath a tree. And as they see it, they go, "Oh!" And therefore, when we have our "ah" and "ah" next to each other, we say, "Oh!" for the poor goat being stuck underneath the tree. Our next one is "I." The sailor is dressed up, a boy is dressed up as a sailor and is pretending to be a real sailor. Now, as he salutes everyone, he says, I, Captain, I. Therefore, when we have the E and E next to each other, it says I. Over here, the girl is running around in the garden, and all of a sudden, she hears lots of buzzing bees. And she holds her wings out. She pretends that her arms are wings, and she goes zzz, zzz. And there is our Z sound. Here we have our W sound, where we hold our hands together. On the picture, you can see it over there. We hold our hands underneath our mouth and we go W, W. And there is our W sound. Over here, we have children having their lunch, and this is our Y, Y sound. There we have them getting into Vic's van, and they pretend that they are driving Vic's van. They hold the steering wheel with their hands, and they go and that is our V sound. Our next one, Granny is teaching the little girl how to sew, and all of a sudden she pricks her finger and she says, "Ow! Ow!" And therefore the "ah" and the "ah" next to each other says, "Ow!" Over here we have got our boat, and it has oil drums on it. All of a sudden, some of the oil drums starts burning, and they have to call for help to the other ship on the other side. And they say, "Oi! Oi!" And there is our oi sound, our "ah" and our "e." Our next one is a double sound altogether. The two children on the left-hand side in the picture, they're showing it nicely. We're making the sound of a donkey, and we are saying Eeyore, Eeyore. When our hands are up next to our head, it says E. And when we put our hands down to pretend that our ears are flopped down, we say or. So there is our E sound, and there is our or sound. On the next one, we've got our ng, and that's our bodybuilder, and he's very strong. We hold our hands up pretending that we are lifting the weights, and we say ng. It will tickle your mouth if you're saying it correctly, and that is our ng sound. Here we have the little girl standing in front of the cuckoo clock, and she looks at it and she's bending down forward, pretending she's the little bird popping out, and she says, "Ooh, ooh, ooh, ooh." And that is our ooh sound. Over here, we have the poor boy that broke his arm, and he went for an x-ray, and the doctor explains to him that they're going to take a photo of the inside of his arm. And they pretend to hold a camera, and as they press the trigger of the camera, they go ks, ks, ks. And there is our ks sound. Here we have our ch sound, and we think of our ch train, the choo-choo train, and they move their hands like the choo-choo train as well. I have found that they sometimes confuse the ch sound, and they write it t because we are teaching them that it is a choo-choo train. So I have found that I have changed it to chop. I tell them to rather pretend to chop the wood instead of the train, so that they can't get confused with that one. So that is our ch sound for chopping the wood. Over here we have got our double clowns. The one is very nice, and he makes a soft sound by sticking out his tongue, and he says for throttle. And then the other one is quite a teasing clown, and he sticks his tongue out and makes a loud sound, and that is our th and our th sound. Here we have Mum trying to show the boy that he must shh because the baby is sleeping. So when we've got our s and our h next to each other, we put our finger in front of our mouth and we go shh. Here we have our duck swimming in the pond, and we hold out our hands and pretend to make the noise of the duck. It's just important that they don't go quack, quack, quack. They in fact have to go quack, 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 quack. And there is our quack sound. Over here, the king is pretending to be extremely important, and he's pointing to everyone who must be his servants, and as he's pointing he goes you, 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 and you, and therefore that is the U sound. Here Mum is busy in the kitchen preparing cake, and all of a sudden her mixer gets stuck, and as it gets stuck it goes and therefore our e and her next to each other says Over here, the little girl went to the doctor because she's not feeling well, and the doctor wants to look in her throat. He sticks the stick in her throat and he says, say R, R, and therefore the a and the r next to each other says R. Over here I have just included a photo for you of all the Jolly Phonics sounds on one card with the pictures that they can relate to. You can maybe put it up on the screen and they can point to each one and tell you what the sounds are. And that is my story with regards to our Jolly Phonics sounds. Thank you.